How have I learned to move past fear in the moments where I just felt like fear was so stacked against me that I couldn't actually move? I have had many times, a lot of times. I'm a lot of the times I am actually, fearful. Like I have fear. Um, but there's also a thing of like fear is false evidence appearing real. Like there's a part of my brain that goes, okay, like you are making up scenarios or you're making up situations that actually haven't manifested and actually don't even align with the person that you are or the way that you live. And so a lot of times when I come face to face with fear, I'm like, I'm taking inventory. I'm like what's the probability more often than not? But um I feel like the most important thing that you can do is ask yourself is like, what is on the other side of fear? Who is on the other side of this fear? Right? Because to be courageous means to act in spite of fear, right? So that doesn't mean that just because you're fearful or just because you are afraid doesn't mean that you shouldn't take action, right? Like people allow fear to stunt them from pursuing things in life. However, there are a group of people who are courageous, and that is what it is. Like I'm scared. Yeah, I'm scared. However, I want to do this. And the only reason I'm going to face said fear is if I actually do it. And that is what courageous actually means. And so I wrote down some things that I just wanted to talk about as it relates to fear. And some things I just want to go over because I know that for a lot of people, well, actually, I've had a couple of people say to me, how afraid they are about moving out of the country, living out of the country, moving with their kids out of the country and stuff like that. And there are a lot of myths and a lot of things that people just are not aware of about where they currently live and or maybe about where they want to live. And so they allow those fears and what has been seen maybe on TV or in movies to stop them from actually doing what they want to do. And that's not okay. Okay. That's not okay. We're not doing it. We're not doing it no more, friend. We're not doing that no more. If you want something out of life, baby, you better go get it. You better go get it. Okay. It's easier said than done sometimes for different people. However, it's it's like, what do you really want out of life? And if that desire is bigger than the fear, right? The false evidence, because it ain't even real, right? It has to be bigger than the false evidence, right? If it's bigger than the false evidence, if you know yourself and know that you can accomplish something, if life has proven to you, however many years you've been alive, that you can accomplish something and that you have these skills to adapt and change, you can overcome fear. Like you can definitely overcome fear. But I'm gonna read my notes. Um, okay, so I said fear is evidence appearing real. Um, so yes, what is on the other side of fear? For me, it was discomfort, right? I was so uncomfortable with my life that I'm like, I this don't even make sense. This doesn't make sense. Like there's no reason for me to be so uncomfortable with the way that my life is just because I'm afraid that I'm not going to have enough money. Just because I'm afraid that um this is not going to work out. Just because I'm afraid that this YouTube thing won't take off. Whatever it is, like whatever it is, I've had several fears that I'm currently working through. However, it's just like on the other side of it, I was very uncomfortable with my life and the way that it was going. I didn't really understand what was happening, but I knew what was happening, if that makes sense. Like, I knew that speaking and being a writer is a part of like my career and purpose. I didn't understand why I felt like I was going through so much, even with like being of service to other people. You know, I was a therapist. And so it's like, okay, so I'm in service of to other people. I'm giving out so much, you know, positive energy and helping others. Why am I going through so much? You know? But it's because there was a fear of being seen. There's a fear of me thinking that people are going to perceive me as knowing it all, or people are going to perceive me as um fake news, or whatever the situation may be. Like, there was some fears of like being seen, and I was so uncomfortable though. I was uncomfortable. I was depressed. You know, at some points I was ready to unalive myself, you know, and because of that, I'm like, I can't allow the fear of whatever to stop me from actually living in my purpose. And so here I am. Here I am. Peace. Welcome. My name is Marquita. I am a spiritual coach and author, and also the host of the Alchemy Soul podcast. So if you're interested in checking that out, please be sure to check the description. On this channel, we talk all about purpose. On this channel, we talk all about purpose, reinvention. We talk about purpose, reinvention, and transformation. And we talk about who you were before they told you who you had to be. So if you're interested, I'm currently on a 365-day long form content challenge. So I'll be back here every day. Please be sure to subscribe. So I put fear is a lie that the ego wants to create to keep you stagnant or quote unquote safe. So one thing about the ego is maybe it want to keep you safe. Okay. A lot of times people, um, a lot of times people are not very much aware of the part that the ego plays in the journey and the life experience. And our ego is not bad, right? The only thing is that our ego is constructed from birth, right? So who you have, you take all your life experience, all your entire childhood, everything that you've experienced in childhood, and put it together for the person that you are sitting with right now in the mirror. That person is just a combination of energy, right? And so the things that you learned as a child has contributed largely to the fears that you have as an adult, because you were taught as a child that I'm gonna just use Colombia as an example. You were taught as a child that the Colombians in Colombia is a place that is not safe. If Colombians in a place that has like drugs and drug wars and so on and so forth. But that's because that was shown to you in TV and on in movies and whatever, in conversations. And that was what you saw probably when you were younger. But now you're older and you have the opportunity to change that fear. You have the opportunity to do research and go and experience it and say, "Oh, that was just TV. That ain't real." Like, and a lot of times that's what it is. That was just TV. That's not real. That's not what's happening here. Maybe some places, but not here. And so it's like you have to decide for yourself what you want to actually experience. Because your ego does want to keep you safe, and that is okay. Safety is an important part of the experience. Feeling safe is an important part for your nervous system. Your nervous system doesn't want to be shocked or overwhelmed too much by life experiences and, being unsafe. And so it's understandable, but you have to transcend the ego, right? Like you have to move past what the ego has always known in order to create a new reality, right? For the ego, um, in order to create a new reality for the ego and help it understand that, you are safe no matter what. But you have to get over whatever fear that is, right? So you can create a new reality. Um, yeah, that's what I said. Nothing wrong with safety, but that just keeps you in a cycle of never doing the things that you actually want to do, right? You can't play it safe your entire life and think that you are going to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Like life requires some risk. It's a risk for us to be here. It's a risk for us to get in a car and drive. There's a risk every day we wake up, we step outside. It's a risk, right? And so why not just not say why not just risk it all, but like you have to be able to take some risk in order for you to move past those fears. um right, I said fear, it doesn't, so fear doesn't go away. Like fear doesn't go away even when you decide that you're going to do what you're going to do. Fear is minimized in time as you continue to take action, right? Fear is minimized in time as you when you continue to show up. And as you continue to show up, it's like fear and trust. Like trust goes up and fear goes down, right? The reason why I feel like I'm able to step out on fear or take big leaps or do those things is because I've done it plenty of times, right? So many times. And my trust level is out of this world, right? Like I'm just so grateful because I really do trust myself and God. I trust God and I trust myself and I trust my spiritual team like to my core. So I know that everything is always working out for me. But there's a lot of people who don't, right? There's a lot of people who have not learned to build that trust with themselves. But the only way that you're going to move past fear, move past your ego, and build that trust is if you actually start taking some action. And you can do it. You can do it. Waiting to feel safe is waiting to feel fearless is soft. Is safe. It's false. Um, So, some questions that you can ask yourself, and kind of journal about it. I'm big into journaling. Like, I'm a journaler. If you're not gonna journal it, like write it down, you should probably do like a voice memo or something like that because you want to be able to like channel the answers instead of like relying on something else to like give you your answers. So when you are journaling and when you are voice memoing, you can kind of talk through or write through whatever you want to say. And it just gives you a clearer, interpretation of like what is actually at the root of whatever the fear is. Um, some questions you can ask is what are you afraid of? And what is the worst that can happen? I ask myself that all the time. Like, what is the worst that can happen? If you can look at the absolute worst that can happen, somebody can say, the worst that can happen is I lose all my money. Okay. Is that the worst that can happen? Like, okay, so let's go beyond that. Okay, so if so say for example, you lost all your money. Then what? Are you dead? Like, are you like gone? Do you know how to make money? Do you know that you can ask somebody for money? Do you know that you can probably go to the bank and get some money? Do you know that there is money everywhere to be had? Like it's just like challenging the fear and challenging yourself and the questions and getting to the roots. And I might not be explaining that very, very well. I'm trying, but it's just like you want to get to the roots, the foundation of what the fear is. And at the very bottom of everything is like, what's the worst that can happen? The worst usually is not being here anymore, right? That means that you will be gone. Like, and so you have if you have died, like none of it matters anyway. See what I'm saying? Like, so the worst that can happen is death. And that's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it's like, it's still not the worst thing. So, um, another question you can ask yourself is who told me that I couldn't do this? You kind of want to understand for yourself, like, is this the voice of a mother? Is this the voice of an uncle or daughter? Or, like who is the voice and what is the voice in your head that is telling you that you cannot accomplish something? And write them a letter. Write them a letter. Say, hey, like, I don't appreciate the fact that you told me that I couldn't do this, but I'm going to do it in spite of what you told me, and just get that energy out because at the end of the day, we all have voices in our head that have been primed in us since we were children, right? Different sayings, different beliefs, and different things that have been taught to us from childhood. Those voices are in our head. And sometimes, in order to get through that, you actually have to face it. Now, I'm not saying that you have to actually go to the people and say it, but you can just really do it in a way of like writing them a letter. And once you write that letter, then you get that energy out and you can burn it, because it no longer is in alignment with the person that you are today. Um, Okay. And then I said, once you have a name for the fear, right? Like once you have a name for the fear, you have a better chance to discern the actual realities. Like once you're able to actually name the fears and see what it is and see what is the worst that can happen, you can actually discern like the probability of it actually manifesting, right? Um so, and then I said, you want to also take inventory of your life. Look at how many things you've overcome, right? Life really is all about adapting because we are constantly changing, we are constantly evolving. So adaptation is just natural, right? We adapt so easily that we don't even realize how easy we are adapting, right? And because of that, it's like you want to look at and say, like, how many times did I actually win? Every single day, you've won. Since you've been alive. Every single day you wake up and you're able to go and get it, you have won. Every single day on this earth, you have won. So, how many battles have you won? 100% of the battles, right? And so, whatever is on the other side of fear is no different. Whatever you decide to step up to the plate to accomplish or step up to the plate to experience, you are also going to win there as well. Um, And then the last thing that I put is know that fear can exist. It just cannot be the driver of your reality. Like, it's okay if you are afraid, but you cannot allow it to make the decisions in your life. Like, you have to take some authority and you have to transcend the ego, right? By doing it anyway, right? The only way that you grow, not the only, right? But one of the ways in which you grow is by seeing this is what I fear and I'm going to do it anyway. And then now my ego is at this level and now it knows and trusts me that, we are in a safe space and we have done something new. And so that's all I got. That's all I got for y'all. I hope that you enjoyed that. If you resonated with anything that I spoke about today, please be sure to leave it in the comments. And I will be back here again tomorrow. Peace, love, and light, beautiful souls.